And Phil, are you going to officially introduce our speaker today?
I'll be glad to. And evidently, he has flown under the radar because I was shocked that we only had one guest correctly. And those who had the foggiest idea that I would be a speaker based on the on the parameters that we imposed, thank you so much for that. But Wayne Underwood, you know, if anybody watches him on Facebook, he's always got these deep, and Doug Hunt can verify this, he always has these deep thoughts that he posts. I don't know where he gets all of his information, but it's very thought-provoking, and a lot of it's positive, and that's what we needed today, I thought, or we need it at any time. But with all that said and done, by the way, the Underwood honey is, I understand, right around the corner. So I want to put me in line for that too, Wayne, while we're at it, okay? So here is, and thanks again, Deb, congratulations. And here's our speaker today, Mr. Wayne Underwood.
I appreciate that, Phil. And since you started out there talking about Underwood's honey, I was trying to decide whether I wanted to start off with something just totally silly or not. So since you said that, then here it is. This program is brought to you by Underwood's Produce.
Yay!
And I guess I'm also happy to know that I disappointed everybody except for Deb. I was actually put together this program back in the fall. And these are two true stories here, both kind of related to the program and how it came to be and what's in it. Hope had sent me an email, or I can't remember if it was an email or a text, prior to one of the club assemblies, and she said, "I'd like for you to present some words of wisdom." and honestly, I sent her the response back, and I said, "Are you sure you sent this to the right Wayne? You know, did you mean Wayne Herrick or Wayne Meads? Because, you know, I think I have enough intelligence to stay out of trouble most of the time, but I've never thought of myself as very wise." And so, you know, when you think of words of wisdom coming from Wayne Underwood, your expression might look kind of like that. And that's where the program name came from, the WOW, and actually they left off the -WW at the end. It's words of wisdom from the wrong Wayne. The other part is from Phil. Phil called me on January the 6th, and he said, "I'm looking for a speaker for the Valentine's meeting, and need for somebody to be able to speak about something uplifting." And I said, "You know, Phil, they've just attacked the U.S. Capitol. I don't know that I feel very uplifted right now." But I came back to him and I said, "Yeah, you know, I can do this." And so kind of putting together two different program thoughts here, you know, I've got what I have for you today. Like I say, when I put this together originally back in the fall. But when I think of 2020, then I think of vision usually. I mean, that's what pops into my mind. The ability to see clearly. And I think it was very difficult to see things clearly in the year of 2020. It definitely was for me. Oddly enough, back in the fall of 2019, Dee Stokes, who was meeting with a group of employees there when I was still working, we had a weekly prayer meeting, and she said 2020 is going to be a year of a turning. It'll be a turning point year. And, you know, looking back on her saying that, I thought, boy, that was really prophetic, wasn't it? Because there were lots of things that turned in 2020. But who would have predicted that in 2020 and actually going into 2021, that we would have seen a global pandemic that's killed over 472,000 Americans as of today. Our country closed for business in some form or fashion since last March. We're divided over racial and political issues, probably more so than the 1960s. There have been massive demonstrations, some peaceful, some not. The president and his staff stricken with COVID. An election with controversial results, violence at the Capitol building, and really just a general sense of fear and uncertainty about what's going to happen next. And that seems to still be prevalent. But with all of these events were events in time, and some, like the pandemic and the divisiveness, seem to have no end. So, how do we maintain a positive and uplifting witness, not just an attitude, but a witness during times like these? The first is to look at how we view time. Edith and I listened to different pastors online since we haven't physically gone to church in a long time. And one is a pastor that used to be at Hopewell Church here in Trinity, but now he's moved onward and upward in the Methodist Church. So he's at one of the big churches down in Charlotte. But he was speaking about time, and he said that we view time in two different ways. One is chronos time, and the other is kairos time. And chronos time is the measurement of time in specific ways, seconds, minutes, hours, days, years. It's very finite and very measurable. The other is kairos time, and got two different views on that. One is just the dictionary view, and kairos is an ancient Greek word meaning the right, critical, or opportune moment. Another version comes from a Lutheran theologian, Paul Tillich, and he said the kairoi, these moments of kairos time, are those crises in history which create an opportunity for, and indeed a demand for, an existential decision by the human subject. And I think if we view what we've lived through in the past year, and in some ways continue to live through a chronos mindset, then it can really be overwhelming, because it's like, when will things get better? How long will this go on? How much worse will this get? Because we're looking at it in moments. But if we live in a kairos view, then we can look at this as these times as presenting us with the right, critical, or opportune moments that demand a decision on our parts. And so how will we choose to make these times better for those around us? That goes to the very heart, I think, of service above self. How can we live a kairos kind of life? The first is to open our hearts and ears to the prophetic voices around us. I was listening to Dee Stokes online a couple weeks ago, and her words for the year came from Isaiah 30:21. Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." So I think we should always try to listen to the word of God that is in our ear and in our hearts. He'll always tell us the right way to go, and then it's up to us to decide whether we'll go that way or not. The second is to go beyond just reciting the words of the four-way test and to try to live them. Stan spoke to this at one of our meetings here a week or so ago. And so let's look at those right quick. The first, is it the truth? Different people see truth in different ways, and I'm generally okay with that. The test for me is to examine my own heart and try to live as I am led to believe the truth to be. Is it fair to all concerned? Again, fair is viewed differently through the eyes of the parties involved. My goal is to try to see the other person's perspective and to act as I think they would view as fair. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? This is one I think I have failed at miserably in the year of 2020. I will admit to everyone here and to anyone that wants to hear it that I have both said and done things thinking I was right in saying them and doing them, but that did not move toward building goodwill or better friendships. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? That's another toughie to put into practice, as many of the things we choose to do, whether as a club or as individuals, may not benefit everyone, or at least they may not view them as beneficial. The third is to choose how we react to the world and the situations around us. I can react to everything that's happened in the last year, but most of it's beyond my control. So for me, it's important to determine which things are within my control where my actions can make a difference. So, what are some of those things? I can control how I react to what's happening around me. Remembering the four-way test and actually trying to live it instead of just say it is a good way to help control my reactions. I failed at it miserably in some ways, but I'm committed to try and do different and be better here in 2021. I can maintain and strengthen ties with like-minded people who are committed to positive change, and you are some of those people. We share a love for others and a desire to improve the lives and the living conditions of those in our community and our world. I can support justice and peace in my community with my words and my actions. I can devote my resources, my time and treasures to make a difference where I can. Remember, 28 cents a day protects a child from polio over 3.5 days. So if you're willing to be part of the Polio Plus promise, then you could protect 104 kids in 1 year. I can support my club leaders by bringing fresh ideas and ways the club can impact our community to them and members. And that's so important. You know, I've been part of club leadership for a while. I've held some of the leadership positions, and I can't tell you how much I've always appreciated hearing from the members of our club of here's things that I think we can do, you know, here's things that I think we could do better. I can push aside the things that prevent me from taking a leadership role in my club and in my community. And my wife has always accused me of never knowing how to say no when someone asks, you know, will you do this? But I think the other side of that is sometimes we find it difficult to say yes, you know, when an opportunity is presented to us. We have a tremendous club that supports their leaders. And so, you know, I would encourage everyone, if you have the opportunity to take a leadership position in the club, do it. You know, the club will stand behind you. The club will make it so easy. I can choose to be thankful. I'm thankful for so many things, you know, for the life I've been given, the hands and the feet and the desire to serve, a club that gives me the opportunity to do it. These are trying times, but even in these trying times, our club has continued to meet and grow and serve, and I'm thankful for that. I can choose to be hopeful. I'm continually reminded of the phrase, this too shall pass. And sometimes things are slow in passing, but they do pass and things do get better. So let us use this time of tribulation to grow hope in our hearts and those around us by doing good in the world. Since Phil asked me to bring this to you on the Valentine's meeting, then I wanted to close with some words about love. Love is around us every day, and we just have to choose to see it. Sometimes it's so big that I can't imagine having the kind of heart that some people have. Preparing for this, then I came across a website called the Choose Love Movement.org. It was formed by Scarlett Lewis after her 6-year-old son, Jesse, was killed in the Sandy Hook elementary shootings. Jesse died while trying to lead his classmates to safety. And, you know, that's such a huge thing in itself. But for this mother who lost her son to take the opportunity to create an organization that is dedicated to helping people to learn how to love and how to share love instead of becoming bitter or angry or hateful is, I can't imagine it. I cannot imagine myself doing what she's doing. But she said what really prompted her to do it was she, after the event, was looking at her refrigerator at home and saw where her son had put on their chalkboard there, nurturing, healing love. Sometimes the things of love are all around us, and they're everyday things. I showed Phil this picture, and these are my grandkids. And to me, that's a picture of love. The older brother helping his younger sister learn how to ride a bike. And then there are things that, like my wife Edith, I love her. And I love her for the little things that she does every day. Clean sheets, clean underwear in the drawers. I mean, you know, these are things that are easy to take for granted. Delicious meals, my coffee cup set out every morning with the spoon beside it. Those are the things, the little things that are easy to overlook. But those are the things that she does that shows me that I'm loved. Every morning I post a National Day event, and January the 8th was National Joy Germ Day. And you know, sometimes I post them and I don't really look to see what they're about, but this one seemed odd, so I looked it up. But it's a day to spread the germ of happiness. And oddly enough, 4 days later, I was in an online Rotary meeting, and one of the members there shared this, and I'll close with this. This year presents us with a choice of what sort of germ we will share. The easiest to share are despair, hopelessness, gloom, cynicism. Let us instead choose to share another germ that's highly contagious: kindness, patience, love, enthusiasm, and a positive attitude. Don't wait to catch this germ. Be a carrier. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Wayne. Absolutely, truly appreciate that. And so now you know why I was inspired to ask you about words of wisdom. You may not think that you share them, but I believe that the consensus among the rest of us would be that you truly do. You know, and I appreciate a lot of the things you said. You know, a few things that stuck with me. You mentioned perspective, and it is one of those things that, you know, we fail to realize sometimes that each individual has their own perspective, and it is formed by every event in their life, every person they've been around, every word they've heard, every action they've taken, every habit they've formed. So everybody's perspective is different, and there is a reason they have the perspective that they do. And you also mentioned, you know, you can't always control things in your life, and it is true. We cannot control those around us, and we cannot control sometimes the circumstances or events of our life. But as it says at the very beginning of the four-way test, we can always control the things that we think, say, or do. And it goes a long way to you know, setting that platform, that foundation for how you live your life, is realizing that, you know, focus on the things you can control. So again, Wayne, thank you very much.
You're welcome. One thing I forgot to mention, and you know, when we're talking about love, you always have to have the word chocolate somewhere in the same sentence. I was eating a piece of chocolate earlier today, and I don't know if that's readable or not. If it's not, then I'll read it to you. It says, believe in those you love. And I believe in you folks. I love y'all.
You know, Hope, there's several in the club, obviously, by the many guesses we had at the start of the meeting. But I don't think any presentation could have been any better today. And Wayne, I appreciate it very much, and always have enjoyed your in-depth perception on most things.
That means he doesn't always share your perspective. That's all that means, Wayne.
No, actually, most of the time I generally do.
That means he wants a free jar of honey.
Keep going. Yep.
Yeah.
Free jar of honey, Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Wayne, go ahead and put me down for one of those jars of honey. I missed out last time.
All right, I got it.
All right. Deb Sing Sing.
I didn't even know about it.
So I think Deb was holding her hand up that she wanted one too. Yep, she's nodding yes. And I can't see. Fortunately, I will tell you guys, we have 48 participants logged on to Zoom. I do think that is the most that we have had at a meeting. There might be a couple double logins due to phones and computers both, but greatly appreciate, you know, all the participation, you know, and that we've had so many people who look forward to hearing those wow or words of wisdom from Wayne Underwood, even though they didn't know it was Wayne that would be speaking.
Only Debbie.
Wayne, this is Don Kleiner. Put me down for one.
All right.
I think you got everybody in the club now, hadn't you?
Yeah. All right. So Wayne, keep that honey list going. There's nothing better to celebrate Valentine's with than honey. So yeah, keep that honey list going.
Can I say a word about his honey?
No, don't you say anything.
I am going to say something. Every day I have a cup of hot Russian tea and I sweeten it with his honey. It is delicious. The very best. Thank you, Wayne.
Any of those that are new to the club or did not realize that Wayne is a beekeeper and so collects his own honey. And so he did say it's coming up on honey season for more than one reason, not just Valentine's.